Hello and welcome all in this video. So today we will discuss on the overall about digestive system of Scoliodon. In today's video we will discuss on the alimentary canal of the Scoliodon and associated glands and food and feeding about the digestion of Scoliodon. So welcome in this video once again, and my YouTube channel having a name JNS Basic Zoology. So today we will discuss about digestive system of the Scoliodon. So the digestive system includes the alimentary canal or gut through which the food is passes and the glands that opens into it. So the overall digestive system is divided into two main parts. One part is called as alimentary canal, which is also called as gut, and second part associated glands, which is take part in the digestion, and that is called as digestive glands also. So overall digestive system is divisible into two parts, alimentary canal and glands. So what is alimentary canal? Alimentary canal begins at the mouth and terminates into the anus. So in this case of Scoliodon, the digestive system is complete, which is started by the mouth and end into the anus, and all remaining parts like buccal cavity, pharynx, esophagus, stomach and intestines are also present in the alimentary canal of the Scoliodon. It is longer than the body. The alimentary canal, overall length of the alimentary canal is long as compared to the body length, and all these parts are present in case of Scoliodon. So let us take one by one. First and most important part of the alimentary canal is the mouth. Mouth, it is a wide crescentic opening which is present on the ventral side of the head. Mouth is situated towards the ventral side of the head, which is a wide opening, and this mouth is guarded by upper and lower lips. That is, upper and lower lip is present in case of mouth, and in between those two lips the mouth is situated. Second part of the alimentary canal is the buccal cavity. So the mouth opens into buccal cavity. This is very simple thing, that is, the mouth opens into the, our mouth lead into the buccal cavity. This buccal cavity is dorso-ventrally flattened. This is the dorso-ventrally flattened cavity. Dorso-ventrally flattened cavity, mouth cavity, lined by mucous membrane, and as already said, bordered by two jaws, upper and lower jaws. Next part of the alimentary canal, or next part of the digestive system, is the teeth. These teeth are not attached to the jaw's cartilage but are simply embedded in the skin. Teeth are simply embedded in the skin. These teeth are similar in type, similar in shape, so called as homodont. Homo means similar, dont means teeth. These teeth are sharply pointed and directed backward, and similar type of teeth, so called as homodont type of teeth in case of Scoliodon. So about remaining teeth, teeth are arranged in several rows. These teeth are arranged in several rows. If lost or destroyed, they are replaced by others several times in life. So this condition is called as polyphyodont. Suppose in any condition these teeth are destroyed or cut off or replaced, then that can be replaced by many times in their lifetime of the Scoliodon, and that condition is called as polyphyodont condition. These teeth are such to grasp the prey, which is usually swallowed whole. These teeth are useful for the grasping of the prey, to catch the prey. On the floor of the buccal cavity lies so-called tongue. It is merely a thick, flat, non-muscular, non-glandular, non-protrusible fold of mucous membrane supported internally by the flat cartilage. This is about the tongue. Then next part is the pharynx, which is third part of the alimentary canal, pharynx. Pharynx, posteriorly the buccal cavity opens into the pharynx, which is the larger cavity lined by endoderm. On the lateral side of this pharynx, contains 5 separate vertical internal gill slits, gill pouches. The pharynx is the common passage for the respiratory and digestive system. So, next, in case of alimentary canal, next part of the alimentary canal is the esophagus. Esophagus here is found in the diagram. Esophagus, pharyngeal cavity narrow down posteriorly and open into short but wide tube called as esophagus. Short and wide tube, which is called esophagus. Pharynx lead into the esophagus with thick muscular wall. The wall of the esophagus are thick and muscular. Its mucous lining is thrown into longitudinal fold. Internally, mucous lining is perforated, made by the longitudinal folds. Next part of the alimentary canal, which is the large part of the alimentary canal, which is called as stomach. The stomach, the esophagus passes backwards and open into the large cavity that is called as stomach. The stomach again having two parts. Its proximal limb is longer, wider, and is called as cardiac stomach. So, first part of the stomach, which is called as cardiac stomach, which is longer and wider and proximal part of the stomach. First part, anterior part of the stomach is called as cardiac stomach, and second part of the stomach is called as pyloric stomach. This is the distal limb or posterior limb of the stomach is called as pyloric stomach, which is shorter and narrower as compared to the cardiac stomach. So, the stomach is basically divided into two parts, cardiac stomach and pyloric stomach. Cardiac stomach is longer, wider, while the pyloric stomach is shorter and narrower. Where the esophageal opening, or where the esophagus opens into the stomach, that opening is guarded by valves, a pair of valves, and that pair of valves are called as esophageal valve. And the mucous lining of the cardiac stomach also forms longitudinal folds internally. The mucous lining of the cardiac stomach also folded longitudinally. At the junction of the cardiac and pyloric stomach, is present a small blind outgrowth, and that is called as blind sac. At the junction where two parts of the stomachs are met, at that particular point, where these two parts are met, that point having outgrowth, and that is called as the blind sac, as well as sphincter valves. There is having the sphincter valves internally. So, this is the blind sac. Then the lining of the pyloric stomach is mostly smooth. Lining of pyloric stomach is smooth and slightly folded distally. At the end of the pyloric stomach, is present a circular muscular band called as pyloric valve. At the end, where This pyloric stomach is end. At that point there is having a strong circular muscular band called as pyloric wall, and guarding this wall, guarding its opening into small but thick walled muscular chamber, the brusa antenna. Also near to that particular region there is having a brusa antenna, which is a opening of the next part of the alimentary canal. So this is about the brusa antenna. This is the position of the brusa antenna. Next part of the alimentary canal, which is called as intestine. So the stomach opens into the intestine. Intestine is a straight white tube about the diameter of cardiac stomach in the middle of its length. Its narrower anterior part receives the bile and pancreatic ducts. The bile duct of the liver and pancreatic duct, which is having the connection of the pancreas, opens into the anterior part of the intestine. So these are the two digestive glands. Liver and pancreas are the digestive glands, opens into the anterior part of the intestine. In Scoliodon, the inner mucous lining of intestine becomes folded anti-clockwise like this, anti-clockwise into longitudinal spiral or scroll. This is called as scroll wall or spiral wall. This is the internal structure of the, when we take the TS of that particular intestine, we can get such a type of structure, which is called as scroll wall or spiral wall. In a transverse section, it looks like a watch spring. It serves to delay. What is the function of these scroll walls? It serves to delay the passage of food and offers increased surface for absorption. Due to this particular type of structure forming here, there the food material or the digested material is stored for a while, and at that time at that particular time when this material is in the intestine, that can be absorbed by the intestine very well. So such type of increased surface, for the increased surface absorption, for the increasation of this absorption of food materials, there is a particular type of scroll walls. Next, in the alimentary canal, again, next part, the last part of the intestine is called as the rectum. The last part of the alimentary canal is called as the rectum. Last part is called as the rectum. It is a short and narrow tube opening behind and through the anus. So the opening of the rectum is, or the alimentary canal, is called as anus, which is open into the ventral cloaca. A small finger-like rectal gland or coacal gland is found near to the opening of the anus, and this rectal gland of unknown function and opens dorsally into the rectum. So about the glands, which is called as glands of alimentary canals, or also called as associated digestive glands. There are basically two important glands which is take part or having a major role in the digestion. First is the liver. Liver of dogfish. This is the common name of Scoliodon. Liver of dogfish is yellowish bilobed gland. The two lobes extend backwards freely into abdominal cavity, but they are united anteriorly and attached to septum transversum by ligament. These two lobes are then connected with each other by septum called as ligament. A V-shaped thin-walled gallbladder, where the material which is produced in the liver is stored in the gallbladder, in which bile is collected, and the material which is stored or secreted by the liver is called as bile. So in the gallbladder, bile is collected, lies embedded in the right lobe of the liver. This gallbladder lies embedded in the right lobe of the liver. A narrow bile duct about 3 cm leave the gallbladder and open into the anterior end of the intestine. So where this gallbladder or bile duct opens into the anterior end of the intestine. So the mixture or the production of the liver, which is called as bile, directly pour into the intestine, anterior side of the intestine. Again, they are having some functions of the liver. Liver secretes bile. Stores glycogen and fat and destroy worn out RBCs or erythrocytes of the blood. These are the major functions of the liver. Liver secretes bile, stores glycogen and fat, and destroy dead cells or worn out erythrocytes, that is the RBCs. This is about the first and most important digestive gland of the scoliodon, which is called as liver. Next digestive gland is the pancreas. Next major digestive gland in case of scoliodon is the pancreas. So the pancreas. It is a compact, whitish, pale, bilobed gland. Again, this gland is also bilobed gland, consisting of longer dorsal lobe, running parallel to the posterior part of the cardiac stomach, and smaller ventral lobe, closely applied to the pyloric stomach. The small pancreatic duct transverses the entire length of the gland to open into the intestine. Nearer to the opening of the bile duct, there is an opening of pancreas, that is the pancreatic duct is also found in case of scoliodon in the intestine at the anterior side part of the intestine, just opposite the opening of the bile duct. Next associated gland, which is called as rectal gland or cecal gland. It is a small finger-like body attached by its ducts to the dorsal side of rectum, into which it opens. Attached to the dorsal side of the rectum, into which it opens. It has a central cavity lined by cuboidal epithelial cells. It is highly vascular and composed of lymphoid tissue, but discharge fluid in the intestinal lumen. This particular cecal gland, rectal gland, discharge fluid in the intestinal lumen. Next, and I think last part, about the digestion of scoliodon. So the scoliodon is a predaceous fish, predaceous carnivorous, feeding mainly on other fish and other organisms. So it is a predaceous carnivore, feeding on other fish or some other small organisms which is found nearer to that animal. Its diet may also include crabs, lobsters and worms. This is also food of scoliodon: crab, lobster and worms. Food is swallowed without mastication. Directly food is swallowed into the alimentary canal, into the mouth, and without mastication this food is lead into the buccal cavity. No digestion occurs in buccal cavity, which lacks salivary gland. No salivary gland is found in case of scoliodon. So there is no digestion in the mouth, in the buccal cavity takes place into the scoliodon. The gastric juice in stomach contains pepsin and hydrochloric acid, HCl. The gastric juice contains two major enzymes, one is the pepsin and hydrochloric acid. It converts proteins into cyanotonin, protease and peptones. This can break down proteins into proteases and peptones And bile makes the semi-digested food alkaline in intestine, while pancreas secretes trypsinogen, amylopsin and lipase. These enzymes are secreted by the pancreas. Trypsinogen, amylopsin and lipase, these enzymes are secreted by the pancreas. Gastric juice having pepsin and hydrochloric acid. It converts proteins into cyanotonin, proteases and peptones. So thank you for watching this video.